Hi grade 10s, today we're going to do difference of squares. A difference of squares is when you have a minus sign and the stuff on both sides of the subtraction sign can have the square root taken. A difference of squares looks like this, m squared minus 81. To factor it, follow these steps. So first off, let's look here. Yeah, we've got a minus sign right here, and 81, you can take the square root of that, and you can also take the square root of m squared. So how do we do this? Step 1, draw two pairs of brackets beside one another. A plus sign in the middle of one, and a minus sign in the middle of the other. Looking like this right here. Take the square root of the first term. Well, this is just m squared. And the square root of m squared is just m. So you put that square root in front of both of those signs. It's first in the original expression right here, so it's first down here too. Then, take the square root of the second term, 81. It's second up here, so it's second down here. Square root of 81 is 9, so you put 9 in the right-hand part of both those brackets. So m squared minus 81 factored is m plus 9, m minus 9. That's it. That's all. So both brackets look the same, except the only difference is that there's a sign difference. One has a positive in the middle, one has a negative in the middle. If you ever see a sum of squares, which is the exact same thing except there's a plus sign in the middle, like m squared plus 81, these are totally unfactorable. You can't factor m squared plus 81, so don't try. So, let's do some factoring. We have g squared minus 49. It gives us one of the brackets. We have to come up with the other one. So it says g plus 7. Well, remember, the brackets are exactly the same, except the only difference is the sign in the middle. So the thing that's missing is g minus 7. Just changing the plus sign to a minus sign. If we have 9k squared minus 84, one bracket is 3k minus 8. The other bracket is going to be the exact same thing except the sign changes. So it's 3k plus 8. Now, factor if possible using a difference of squares. So a squared minus 16. Well, make your brackets up. Plus sign in the middle of one, minus sign in the middle of the other. Doesn't matter which comes first. You can put the minus sign in the first bracket, plus sign in the second bracket. Doesn't matter at all. Square root of a squared, that's a. Square root of 16, that's 4. And we're done. Next one is b squared minus 1. So again, two sets of brackets. Plus sign in the middle of one, minus sign in the middle of the other. Square root of b squared, that's b. Square root of 1, that's 1. I'm done. Next one, we'll try things a little bit different. This time we'll put the minus sign in the middle of the first, plus sign in the middle of the second. Living dangerously, I know. Okay, so square root of 81 is 9, so the 9 comes first. Square root of c squared is just plain old c, so that comes second. Question D, d squared plus 16. So, make our two brackets, plus, minus. Okay, how do we do this? Well, oh, sneaky question. Because this question has a plus sign in the middle. It's not a difference, which means minus or subtracting. It's not a difference of squares. It's a sum of squares. And going back to the first page here, we said that if you ever see a sum of squares, like m squared plus 81, these are unfactorable. They can't be factored. So back to our question here, we need to do this. And we need to say that this is unfactorable. Sneaky, sneaky. Okay. Now let's do some more. E squared minus f f squared. Okay, so we gotta make our two sets of brackets here. Minus sign plus sign. Square root of e squared, e. Square root of f squared, f. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's do another one. Go back to a plus and a minus. 9f squared, square root. Well, square root of 9 is 3. Square root of f squared, f. So square root of 9f squared is 3f. Square root of 4 is 2. So 3f plus 2, 3f minus 2. Two more to go on this page. 25g squared minus 121. Square root of 25g squared? Well, it's 5g. Square root of 121 is 11. So 5g plus 11, 5g minus 11. And the last one with this batch, plus minus square root of 36h squared, 6h. Square root of 49p squared, 7p. So it's 6h plus 7p, 6h minus 7p. Alright. And now we have just a few more examples. Factor if possible using the difference of squares. So we have y squared z squared minus 9. This isn't anything different than what we've already done. Plus, minus. Square root of y squared z squared is just y, z. Square root of 9, 3. There we go. No problem at all. Question B is a little bit spicier. We can't take the square root of 2 or 8. So what do? Well, we take a look at what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about taking out common factors. That's exactly what we have to do here. So what we have to do is we have to take a look at the first term, 2w squared, the second term, 8, and ask ourselves, is there a number we can take out as a common factor? And there is. It's 2. So, take out common factor of 2, and we're left with 2 divided by 2 is 1, or just w squared, because we're not taking out any w's, so we still have w squared left over, minus 8 divided by 2 is 4. W squared minus 4 is a nice difference of squares. So, 2, set of brackets, plus minus square root of w squared, that's w, square root of 4, that's 2. So the answer, this is a two-stepper, the answer is 2, bracket w plus 2, bracket w minus 2. We need to make sure we leave that 2 in front. And we also need to make sure we take out that common factor in this step right here. If we don't do that, we're not going to be able to answer the question. We should always look for a common factor at the beginning of one of these questions. Likewise with this next one, 5v squared minus 5. Take out a common factor of 5, and we're left with v squared minus 1. V squared minus 1 is the difference of squares. Square root of v squared, v. Square root of 1, 1. Now our last example is 27 minus 12g squared. What we need to do here is take out a common factor of 3. If I take out a common factor of 3, I have 9 left over here because 27 divided by 3 is 9. Minus 12 divided by 3 is 4. And the g squared remains g squared because I'm not dividing out any g's. So 9 minus 4g squared is my difference of squares. So I put the 3 here, and then I put my 2 sets of brackets. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 4g squared is 2g. And this is how you factor a difference of squares. I believe you'll have a quiz on this when I'm back on Wednesday.